Okay, next up is reverb. Now we've already got a bit of reverb on one of our tracks on the melody. Let's turn off the delay and the reverb and see what our melody actually sounds like. So pretty uninspiring with the reverb. An absolute world of difference. Now what I'm going to show you is I'm going to create two melodies and then I'm going to freeze this one and then flatten it, which means that you get to see what the audio looks like. Now I'm going to do the same thing again, except this time I'm going to turn the reverb off. So duplicate and then freeze track and then flatten and have a look at the difference. I was really hoping that you'd actually be able to see a lot more clearly that the reverb is taking up space. I mean, I don't know, I guess you can see a little bit there. There's the reverb, there's not. No, anyway. The point of that was that reverb takes up space. It takes up space in your mix, which is great because it sounds like it takes up space, so it makes your instruments take up more of the audio spectrum, which makes them sound fuller and makes the song sound more, there's more depth. It's more interesting to listen to. That's why we add reverb to things. But at the same time, adding reverb means that you need to manage it so that it's not getting in the way. So if you've, let me try that again, so it's not a total failure. Let's crank the reverb. And let's duplicate and then freeze track and then flatten that. Now you can see a bit of a difference. So that's with the reverb, and that is dry, as we say. Nope, that's not dry. I think I deleted the wrong one. Let's make another melody, except totally dry. Okay, very quickly, duplicate, freeze track, flatten. Okay, so you can see the difference here. So, if you have stuff with reverb, what do you need to do? You need to put one of these on it, otherwise it's going to get in the way of everything, okay? Most of the time. Sometimes you might not have to put a Kickstarter on it, a compressor, sidechain. But most of the time you will, because if you put heaps of reverb on everything, then your mix will sound muddy, things won't have space, and it won't sound very good. So be careful when adding reverb. You want to do it as much as you need to for the part to sound great, for it to be full, but not to get in the way of the other parts, okay? Here endeth the lesson, at least for that. Okay, so that's the very beginning about reverb, so don't go crazy with it. Just add as much as you need, make sure it's not getting in the way of the other parts. Let's put that reverb back on and dial it back. I think that sounds pretty cool there. Okay, now the VST synths and stuff that you use, they'll have reverb built into them, but if you want to use your own one, then you can by going Audio Effects and then adding reverb. Reverb is a huge topic. I'm not really going to get into the specifics of it. What I would suggest is that you just trial around with the different knobs. Basically, dry wet means dry is nothing. There's no reverb on that. Wet means 100% of the sound is whatever reverb settings you have. So if you go halfway in between, you get 50-50, which in this instance sounds pretty good. Maybe a little less than 50-50. Seeing it is the main melodic part, we want it to be in the foreground, and if you add heaps of reverbs to something, it'll be in the background. And main melodies don't happen in the background, they happen in the foreground, right? They need to be obvious for the listener. Melodies aren't a subtle thing to be put away in the back corner of the of the dance floor. They need to be right in front of the they need to be hitting you right in the face, right center of the mix. So that is reverb. Let's go through a few little settings. So that's what we were doing just before, except on the VST, Sylenth. That's the dry wet. Let's have a look at decay time. So this is basically how long the reverb goes for. Let's just listen to the melody. Actually, we might put it on 100, or maybe 80%, so you really get the idea. So decay time, fairly self-explanatory. I think probably the other one that you really need to look at is stereo, and we're going to go through that a little bit more, but that's basically the differences between your left ear and your right ear of what's happening. Because if it's not the same, spoiler alert, it's not the same. Sounds go more in the left or more in the right, or there's lots of different psychoacoustic things that you can do with hearing sounds from your left and from your right. It's one of the fundamental principles of audio engineering, but we will get into that a little more next time. No, we won't. Gonna have to hang on. We're looking at compression next.